Okay. Okay. Welcome back. And I think now is a good time to start on creating our homepage. But for that, we need to create a couple of components. So make sure we're in our clients, have our server running, and having our database also running. Okay. So what components do we need? We're gonna for our homepage, we're gonna want to list out all of the polls that are available to see, as well as being able to show the users current polls if they're logged in. So the components that we're gonna want is touch, source, components. We're gonna want the polls component, polls, poll.jsx, as well as components polls.jsx. It's a little confusing, but I'm using the whole singular and plural of polls. Uh, but I don't know. I think it's a good naming convention, so I'm gonna go with it. So these are the two files that we created, and let's run with this. All right. I think I'm gonna start with the polls because it's should be a little less complicated. So this is gonna be a React component from React, and of course it's gonna connect to our Redux store. React Redux, and as all components, it's gonna be actually this one we're gonna want some state in it, so we're gonna use the class syntax. Polls extends component, and we have to grab component from React. Alright, and a React component always needs a render function that returns JSX. So for now, it's just gonna be a div. Self-closing. And of course, don't forget to export polls. Okay. So what do we need to connect, or what do we need from our polls, the Redux store? I'm sorry. We're gonna need a couple of things. So from the store, we're gonna need both the auth component, store.auth, and the polls, store.polls. So auth is gonna be necessary for getting the user's polls, and then polls is just all of the polls that are available. Now we also need some actions from from the store. So the actions that we'll need here is get polls, so all the polls from our server, as well as get user polls. Okay, and these currently don't exist, so we need to import them in. Import get polls and get user polls from, let's see, where are we? // store / actions. I believe that's the right place. Alright, one moment. Okay, so far so good. Nothing too crazy. Okay, so when this component renders, we want to grab all of the polls, the get polls here, from the server. So that's where we need the state, or the stateful what is this called? Lifecycle hook or method from React, and that's the reason why we're inheriting it from the React component. So to do that, we need to do component did mount, and here we're just gonna do get polls, and that comes from our props, because if you remember, we're mapping the store's state to our props state. So, or this is actually the action here. Okay. So get polls comes from our props, and then we want to just call that function. And that will get the polls. Let's see. Do I need anything else here? Oh, since we're inside of a React component, a stateful component, we need to make sure that we're getting the props correctly, and that happens in the constructor. So we have to super props, and super is just a keyword for inheritance. So super will inherit all the props from component, as well as the props coming in from Redux, and whatever else we end up passing into it. Okay, I believe that should be it. Let's actually create some HTML to see what's happening. All right. I'm gonna also bring in the fragment here. So fragment, fragment, which will act as a div that we could store JSX inside of. And let's see. So all of the polls is going to come in as an array. So we're just going to map the array to individual JSX items. So const polls equals this dot props dot polls dot map, and for each poll, it's gonna end up looking like it's gonna be rendered as an li tag, li, with the poll dot question inside of it. Let's see. Yeah, that should be fine. And then in the rendered JSX, we're gonna put it inside of a unordered list, all of the polls. All right, let's test this out. Where are we gonna put this? Let's create a test page. So, oops. Touch source pages, test page.jsx. And in the test page, we're just gonna put in all of our components so that later on we could style all of our components without actually going through all the links itself. So how is this gonna want to look? So React from React const test page equals actually want curly or parentheses, and for now let's just bring in the polls. That's not what I wanted. Let's just import it. Polls from // components slash polls, and then export default test page, and then put it inside of our route views under the route of test. Route exact path slash test render. Make sure we don't forget to close our tag. And it's going to be the test page. Alright, let's see this. So let's go to slash test. And there we go. So now our polls looks correct. It has all of the, let's quickly inspect our Redux store. Redux. So we're setting all the polls. They're all here, which is great. Let's actually look at inside of state so we could go inside of all of it. So in Redux, we have the voted, the ID, the question, the options. So everything's there. Perfect. Currently, it's a little dumb, so I want to, when I click it, we'll set the current poll to whichever one we click. So let's do that, actually. So polls, we want an onClick method on the individual LI right here. So onClick, and we want this to be a select function. So we select the poll. So let's see. Let's add it here. Handle select. All right, and that is gonna look like it's gonna take in the ID, and it's just gonna get the history object. What history object? What the hell? Oh, I know why I did that. I don't want to do that yet. Let's do this. Get current poll. Get current poll. And let's make sure get current poll is, what does that take in? Set current poll, get user poll, create poll, current poll. Takes in the path, and the path is the ID. Okay. So that is gonna be, we got the get current poll from this.props, and we just call it get current poll, where we pass in the ID. Okay. Now the onClick needs to also pass in the ID, and that is, we can't just do this handle select, because this will by default take in the wrong parameter or the wrong argument. So instead, we have to make it into a function that calls it. So then we could call it like this. And the ID is coming from poll, so poll.id. And then also a couple of React type specific things. If we map a list of stuff, it needs a key. And we're just gonna put in the poll.id here. Oh yeah, it's underscore ID because that's what is being stored in the object. Alright, I think that's good. Save and test it. So let's pay attention to the current poll here. So we click, and the current poll is added, And if we click again, it changes to whichever one we click. So pretty cool. All right. So what I did earlier was trying to access the history object, because what I want to do is once you click the current poll, you get redirected to the specific poll page, which is the one where it has the pie chart that we're going to use a little later. I think I think we should finish this out so that we're able to show the users polls. So let's do that really quick. Do. So here we're gonna check auth that is authenticated, and if that's true, then we're gonna render a bunch of JSX. So in here is a div. Make sure we close the div. And auth is coming from our props, so let's destructure that. Auth is coming from this.props. So auth is authenticated. So if the user is logged in, we're gonna have a button. So this first button is gonna be all polls, and the second button is going to be the user's polls. So my polls. And let's see if the buttons work. Login. Colon. Password. Let's see. Oops. Test. My polls, all polls, my polls. Alright, these buttons don't do anything, but they should. So let's make sure we have let's make sure that these actually do stuff. Okay. So how did I do this earlier? Okay. They're both gonna have an on-click event. And we're just gonna pass in the the get polls and get user polls functions here, the ones that we're bringing in from Redux, the action creators, if you will. And it's inside props, so let's make sure we destructure it here. Polls and get user polls. Save and test. So my polls, I don't have any polls, but all polls works fine. And then if we log out and log in as the owner of those polls, so username, password, make sure we go to test. My polls, they're all there, albeit in a different order, but that's totally fine. Okay. And then as you can see, a lot of Mongoose logs, so it's definitely talking to our server. Let's make sure we bind handle select. So this.handle select equals this.handle select bind this. Currently there's no problems with that, I don't think. So, but just to be safe, I'm gonna bind it in our constructor. And okay, so our polls component is pretty much done. We're gonna change the handle select in a bit to so that we could create our polls component. And let me just check if this video is getting long. 20 minutes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video and we're gonna finish out the poll, singular, in the next video. Let's just add the test page to our nav bar so then it'll be easier for us to go to it a little later. So let's just add it here. So li, and then it's gonna live inside of a link component. So slash to test link and test. So we go to test page, we go login, register, test, and then press a bunch of buttons. Redux is working. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video where we finish out our individual polls. Boop.